We're going to go ahead and stand up and sing another song. It's number 211 in your red book if you want to follow along there. 211. Do you want mine? Or will also be up here. Will the prayer chaplain bring forward our prayer box, please?
The service this morning.
Well, you struggled last week with the mic. I didn't like this door.
Somebody's catching on to my foibles. Well, a little bit of joking does not hurt. And I guess I'm a jokester in many ways, but I'm not sure everybody knows that. Somebody does. That's what they did. But there's no joke with the prayer box. For this is where we can do it in a joke. We can write a prayer in a joke and put it in the prayer box. We can write a serious one. We can write whatever needs to be in the prayer and put it in the box. And we set them in the box, and every Sunday we pray over the ones we have in the box. And then we send them on to Unity to pray over them for another month. So for now, let us remember that all of these prayers are put in here with a serious heart and are all part of the wholeness that is the oneness that is God. Amen. Amen.
I would like to inform you, let you know that those of us that are wearing prayer shawls are prayer chaplains, and it would be our pleasure to pray with you one-on-one, confidentially, anytime you desire that. And now, is going to read the daily word.
I got double duty this morning. I make a point of developing my spiritual life. I read and study. I pray and meditate. I'm a part of a spiritual community. But spiritual understanding doesn't count for much unless I put it into action. So I look for ways to serve. Any act of kindness is a form of service. It might be volunteering to help the poor, but it also could be mowing a neighbor's lawn, letting someone ahead in the grocery line, or carpooling with children. Service ranges from full-time caregiving to something that is simple as listening. Anything I do to make life a little easier for another is service. And I see opportunities to serve as soon as I look for them. Service is a spiritual practice. From 1 Peter 4:10. Like good stewards of manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
So let us take this time, close our eyes and relax. Breathe in deeply, hold it for just a brief moment and let go. Releasing any tension that's in your body. Breathing in again, deeply, breathing in love. And letting go, relaxing, and breathing out gratitude. Thankful for this time that we have together. And knowing that all is in divine order. And that we are in this moment exactly where we are meant to be. Just relaxing and moving a little deeper, closer to that still and silent place within. Become aware of the air as it touches your skin. Hearing the piano, the fan, and just letting it be what it is. If there are thoughts, allow them to come, but don't follow them. Allow them to go the same way that they came. And emotions, just allow them. Being aware of this moment. Feel your seat securely in the pew, your feet securely on the ground. Relaxing into this moment. And now, visualize with me. See before your eyes a glowing light, a ball of glowing light. And now that it's being held firmly in your imagination, visualize it begin to move. And And as it moves, it traces a line. Allow it to move down to your feet, through the floor, and into the earth, until it comes to rest at the very core of our planet. And now, let it slowly rise again, making a connecting line from the center of this planet back up to you. And as it comes into your field of vision, allow it to continue to rise, going further, higher and higher. Out of this building, up to the sky, past the atmosphere, and into outer space. It continues to rise, leaving this trail of light to the very limits of the universe. Hold it there for a moment. Has it changed color? Maybe it has, maybe it has not. It is okay. And now let it descend again, moving closer to you, slowly, until it comes to rest where it began, right before you. Allow yourself to relax, feeling that light and the sphere. Let it begin to expand in your vision, growing in size, slowly. Soon, it is big enough that your whole body is within the sphere. Feel that light as it touches you. Feel that light moving through you now. That light is divine light, filled with life and love. Allow it to move through your body, touching each cell with its rejuvenating life. And now let the ball continue to grow, so that now your neighbor is inside that ball of light. And it continues to grow. This whole church is now within that ball of light. It's gotten large, but it's not done. It continues to grow until it's out there on Governors, and every car that passes cannot help but feel that love and that life as it touches that glowing ball of light. And the ball continues to grow until all of Huntsville, all of Madison is encompassed within that sphere of loving life and light. And that ball still continues to grow until our state, our nation, our world has become united. Our universe is one within that light, and we are in that light together. Feel that warmth, that comfort, and rest. Rest in that light and in the silence. Yeshua. We are the awakened heart. Together, we are an expression of that divine light in our community. Moving back to this place, let us feel gratitude for our oneness and for our connection. With a general spirit of gratitude, we say thank you, and so it is. Amen. This morning, I want to talk to you about oneness.
Can I say something before you start?
Let us know the truth of who we are in this moment. That we are spiritual beings. That we are connected to the one power and one presence in this universe. Let us rest our faith in this. Knowing that the resources that are needed will come. Because we are connected to that infinite supply. And so I'm holding this stuff in her to show us that we are one. We are all one. Now what I want to talk about this morning is oneness. It's difficult when we are in a difficult situation to get past the moment and see the truth of who we are. But it is possible. The situation is something that we can do nothing about, but we have every bit of control over our thoughts. We have every bit of control over our thinking in the matter. I'm not sure where I first saw it. I think it was Eric Butterworth. But he defined God as a circle. Or let me not say define. He described. He tried to describe something that could not be described by saying, look at a circle. Think of a circle that has no circumference. The circumference is the distance around the circle. A circle without circumference, but whose center is everywhere. And that even doesn't do justice to the oneness. Oneness is something that defies our ability to intellectualize it. We cannot, because of our brains that we are born with as human beings, conceptualize something like this. But when we experience it, then we know. Probably we want it again, because the love, that energy of that love, that life, is something that calls to us. And we call to it, whether we know it or not. Because you are here this morning, and something brought you here. Being oneness is a little more than just talking about oneness. So how do we be oneness? What are each of us willing to give up to be oneness? Are you really serious about being oneness? Serious. That means that I really, really want it. Really, really bad. But what it doesn't mean is taking it so serious. Oh, I know. It's one of those plays on words. It's a paradox thing. But no, what it means is that I'm serious about it. I really am committed. But whenever I'm not able to be oneness, I'm in a playful spirit and I say, oh, so what? I'll just get up on that, dust off my rear end and get on the horse again. It's just such a coincidence that we had a reading in Sunday school this morning. We got this story about a Buddhist monk who had a student who wanted to learn oneness, who wanted to learn that oneness. But the Buddhist monk had no way of really describing to him what it would take. So he took him out in the water and he held him under the water and he wouldn't let him come up. The young man struggled, and then when at the very last minute, he allowed him to come to the surface. And then he asked his disciple, what was the thing that you were thinking when I had you under the water? And the disciple, of course, said, I was thinking about air. That I really wanted air. Of course. And the monk said, when you really want oneness, as much as you wanted that air, then you will be oneness. Okay. Next slide, please. I've got a clicker, but it's gone missing. It went where the socks go in the dryer. And one of these days it'll turn up. You know. So I thought, what is being? And I really wanted to know. So I went and I looked up first. I looked up what Charles Fillmore had to say about being, and it was very similar to what I described on the first slide about the circle. And that was, I was like, well, maybe I know where Eric Butterworth got it. But it wasn't exactly the same description. I thought, well, that really doesn't say what I want it to say. So we pick and choose, you know. So I went to the dictionary, and there's several things for being, but there's a few things that I really want to highlight. On 1B, there's three different definitions, and one of them says the totality of existing things. So being is all there is. So it's really a restatement of oneness. And I like this next one too. This is 1C. Being is conscious existence. And I thought, well, how unity? And this is in Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Even Charles couldn't put it so nice. And the one I want to talk about this morning is number 2. The qualities that constitute an existent thing. So, what qualities do we need or can we develop in ourselves to be oneness? Because we have such this huge thing that we can't describe, so we break it down and make it simpler. So next slide. So let's talk about what it's not. It's not separation. And I'm thinking here of the ego. You know, and you've probably heard this before. Ego is an acronym for edging God out. We can do it all by ourselves. Who needs divine help. Feeling of self-importance, and isn't that kind of what we would have if we were edging God out? It's not a lack of desire of anything. When we're in that state of oneness, it's not like we don't have any desire anymore or any ambition anymore. It's not complacency. It's not just, oh, here I sit, I'm one now. So those are the things it's not. Next slide. On Father's Day, you heard me talk about 3 different parables, and one of them was the parable of the prodigal son. And that day I said, well, it probably should be called the parable of the father, because the parable really is about the father. So I'm going to summarize it quickly. So the father has 2 sons, and one of them comes and says, I want my inheritance. I want what's mine now. And so the father divides up the inheritance and gives it to him. And he goes away. He separates himself from the household. And I think it says he lives a riotous life. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but he spends all the money. He spends all the goods and he has nothing left. So he hires himself out to a pig farmer. Now this is a Jewish fellow, okay? And I don't know if you know, but in Judaism, you don't eat pork, right? It's not kosher. And he's at a pig farm feeding pigs, pig slop, and he's thinking, what have I done? Look where I'm at now. I've had to go so low. I'm starving, and I would really eat this pig food if I could. Even my father's servants have it so much better than I do. So he decides to go back. The father, when he sees him coming down the road, runs to him with open arms, gives him a hug, welcomes him back, tells his servants to slaughter the fatted calf. That calf which we've been holding aside for a special occasion, feeding it the extra good bits from our table and making them really tender. We're going to slaughter the fatted calf. And we're going to have a celebration. He gets the best robe, he gets a ring, and his sandals. So he gets rewarded when he comes back home. The other brother is a little jealous and can't understand why the one that left and wasted all this money gets rewarded with a celebration, and he can't even get a goat to have a party with his buds.
Right.
And what did the dad tell him? He says, son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. So now if you think about the father and his household as the oneness, when we leave the oneness, we're in a state of lack. But when we come back, we get the robe, the ring, the sandals, and the fatted calf. And if we stay there, like the other son, everything that Spirit has is already ours. We are connected to that substance. All right, next slide. This is History Day. We're going back to Easter now. Okay? I talked about the vision of the 4 beasts on Easter. This is out of Daniel. Old Testament stuff. So Daniel was a prophet and he had a vision. And out of the turbulent sea there was the 4 beasts. And there's gruesome descriptions of what these beasts are like. And one of them in particular has 10 horns. And there's eyes on the horns. And it's strong and terrifying and very arrogant. Alright, and then he sees a figure on a throne, an ancient of days. So I'm picturing an old man. Wise. That's what we get from that. Someone who has had experience. I like to think that that is the observer within us. Those four beasts are part of our ego personality. They're what Jung would call sub-personalities within us. Different things that we identify ourselves as. You know, I'm the caretaker. I'm the one that goes to the bar on Saturday night. I'm the one that nurtures the children in the morning. All of these different parts of us. I'm the one that gets upset when I don't get my Wheaties. All of these different aspects or personalities that are within us. Those are the beasts. And some of them want to be in charge. They want to be the one that leads the body, that leads our thinking. Now the one on the throne, this Ancient of Days, is our observer part of us. The one who can recognize the beasts for what they are. And in the vision, the Ancient of Days goes to the one with the 10 horns, that arrogant one that wants to be in charge and eliminates it. But he says to all the other beasts, we're going to let you stay around because we need you. We learned all these skills so that we could live in this world. We need our ego, but we don't need our ego to be the boss of us. And then, next slide. I think I got ahead of the slides a little bit. So, that observer part, the Ancient One, is presented to one who is I saw one like a human being coming with the clouds of heaven. Now, where's heaven? Heaven's inside us, right? So we're talking about something that's going on within us. And the one from heaven came to the Ancient of Days, and to him was given the dominion, glory, and kingship, so that all peoples in this situation is those little sub-personalities. That's the Christ consciousness. The one coming from heaven, who is given dominion over all of the sub-personalities. So that we still have that parts of us that we need to wash the dishes, to do our jobs, to make our living in this world. But they are the servants and not the masters. And who is the master? Our spirit guide, our spirit within us, the Christ. All right, next slide. So let's start to sum some of this stuff up. When we go into a consciousness of separation, like the prodigal son that wanted what was his and took it away, we get lack. The lack is so bad we'd even love to eat pig food. But when we come back home to the oneness, we get the robe, we get the ring, sandals, and even the fatted calf. Everything that we need, everything that we could desire, and more. Because remember, he just wanted, when he came back, he'd be satisfied with what the serpents had. But that's not what he gets. Alright? So, from the great beast story, from the 4 beast story, we get that our consciousness is made up of sub-personalities. And these we learned from the time we were in the crib. We started looking out at the world. We saw little things maybe attached to our crib that we could play with, had color. We started forming these things into our vision of the world. We saw mommy or dad and daddy. And we started to put together these ideas. We discovered that when we cried, we got fed, or we got our diaper changed. We learned those things. Those were valuable skills, so we don't want to get rid of the skills that we learned how to survive with. Those are all part of our ego. But we don't want those things to be the boss of us. No. When we can go inside and we can find that Christ within in the silence, then we can know the oneness. All right, next slide. So what's the plan here? What is it that I can use? When I let go of every thought that I've ever had about what it means to be enlightened and have that enlightened experience, then I can have the oneness. As long as I hold in my mind a thought of what it's going to be like, I can't get there. Why? Because I can't even conceive of what it would be like. Any thought that I have of it is not what it is. So all of our thoughts are blocks to that oneness. I can't get there from my ego personality. I need help. I have that observer who can look at those 4 beasts, but I need that Christ within to put them all in their place and keep harmony within my consciousness. It's a very short journey. We don't have to travel anywhere. We don't have to go to the sacred mountain. We don't have to go on pilgrimage. We have everything we need already. It's the shortest journey that you can make. Next slide. So, are you meditating? Oh, it doesn't matter how long as you start. Now, if you think about it, if I'm in the middle of the situation, whatever that situation is, whether it's at work, whether it's with my friends, if I want to be able to find that center in the middle of the turmoil, don't I need a little practice at finding that? And that's why meditation is so important. So next slide. So meditate. I think the previous slide showed a guy sitting on a rock. I don't know about you, but I can't meditate like that. I sit in a chair. I don't chastise myself because I can't do it. Remember, we want to be serious about it and dedicated to it, but yet at the same time, we want to be playful with it. If I can't get to that quiet stillness, so what? I continue to try. I continue to meditate. If you're really serious about it, what is 10 minutes? And if you get to that 10 minutes, you're going to want more. And there's time. There's time. You don't have to find it right now. Start with 5 minutes. Start with 5. Surely there's 5 minutes. That's the time it takes to, I don't know, you probably don't smoke, but smoke a cigarette. I mean, 2 commercials. So you've got time. There's 5 minutes in 24 hours for spirit. Please, it doesn't matter what spiritual path that you go and you study, the same direction is going to be given. We have to spend that time in the silence and in the stillness and in the quietness. It doesn't matter what you call it. You don't have to call it meditation. You can call it prayer. You can just call it my quiet time. It starts with a deep breath. Yeah. And that's how I'm going to start my prayers. Every time you'll notice when I start our prayer, it's with a deep breath. Letting go, and I relax into the moment. I like to affirm the truth of who I am, that I am the child of God, that I am spirit. Move deeper into the silence. Allow yourself to open to spirit and to that still small voice. If there's other things going on, that's all right. Someone coughs or an ambulance goes by, just allow that to move you deeper. Don't let it interrupt. as I finish my prayer time, gratitude, thankfulness. Thankfulness for my being, my oneness. Yes. I want to thank you this morning for your attention, for letting me be here with you this morning. And there's one parting thought. Oh, next slide. When we begin in the oneness, we will walk upon the earth as Jesus walked, untouched by the changing tides of reality, blessing everything we touch because we are the truth that exists in all of us. Next slide. I just love that. I had to put it in there. I didn't know where else to put it. And one more. And I know I'm running a little over this one, but I just have to share this. Yesterday I went to Joyce's birthday. She turned 90. And I walked into the room and I couldn't believe the number of people who was in there. Some of us Unity folks was there. But there was a whole room full of other folks too. And every one of them was family. And I was blessed to be asked to sit right there with Joyce, right in front of her. So I got to notice when I think it's her baby son. Her son came up and was talking to her, whispering in her ear. And I could feel that love. So I went into my practice. I am that. I am, so that I could just get into that oneness and feel that love and just knowing that. And so I was in that state and I had just said, I am that. I am. And as I said, I am inwardly, he told her, he says, I love you. And there was a shock wave that came towards me. It was like a lightning bolt. And if I wasn't in that state, allowing that to move through me, it would have been like one of those transformers on the pole. When the lightning hits it, I would have been burnt up. There was so much power of love. And I let it through and just, whew. That's all I wanted to say. So my parting thing is love. Thank you.
Eugene, I feel loved. I don't know about you. We're going to go ahead and stand up and sing our next song. It's actually based on what we're talking about, meditation and affirmative prayer. It's a song that will allow you to just feel. So we're just going to sing it 4 times through, as you'll see on the screen. But just feel. There's a presence moving softly in the quiet of my being, calling softly all the time. One heart, one
I